Good morning, good evening, and good night, everybody. My name is Sarah, and today we are doing a book tag that I have put off for a while. Now, originally I was not going to do a book tag this week, but here's the thing. It is spring break. I spent all day yesterday at Disneyland, and I spent the night at the Aladdin musical I gotta go see. Beautiful, amazing, I love it. And then tonight we're going to Disneyland again. And so, I am thoroughly exhausted. Like, my life needs to be put on pause so I can take a nap. But that is not happening, so I went to Starbucks, got myself a Frappuccino, and now we're back, and today we're doing something I thought was fitting, which was the Disney book tag, because this week is very much Disney for me, hence the ears. Now, originally this book tag was inspired by the new Descendants movie. That's been out for a while now, so I don't think it's that fitting. There is one question on there, but everything else should fit totally fine, because I don't do Descendants. Like, it's a cool concept, but you know how Disney original movies are. So I guess with that all being said, let's dive on in. Question number 1, Little Mermaid. A character who is out of their element. A fish out of water. For me, I chose Barry from An Irish Country Doctor. Barry is a character who just got out of his med school. He is trying to figure out, does he want to do, like, general practices, specific practices, because it was back right during those time where you could, like, do some stuff and then come back, and I was like, yeah. So, Barry decides to go, like, basically intern or, like, apprentice under this doctor who works in the Irish countryside, and he realizes all the stuff he learned in med school does not prepare him to be the doctor for these people, because, yeah. Now, this is a part of a very large series. I don't think we follow Barry in the other books, but I really do want to continue reading this because this was just so much fun. But yeah, Barry, definitely out of his element here. Question number 2, Cinderella, a character who goes through a major transformation. Now, I have 2 answers for this. The first one is from a manga, and I generally don't try to use manga to answer book tag questions, but I think it's really fitting. Sunda from Kaiju Hitman Reborn. I'm totally saying his name wrong. My brain is not working today. But at the beginning of the story, for those of you who don't know, Kaiju Hitman Reborn, or just Reborn for short, is originally was pitched and produced as a comedy. It was meant to be a comedy, and then sales started to drop, and the mangaka, the guy who wrote the thing, decided, hey, I mean, this is a common practice in manga, so you take a comedy and you turn it into an action, and that's what they did, and it's so amazing, because we get to see Sukun from a 14-year-old kid who's like told, hey, by the way, you're gonna be a mafia boss, and he's a complete civilian, he's a complete klutz, he has no idea what's going on, complete comedy element into this mafia boss. He turns into this courageous leader and is amazing, and he's still the goofy, uncomfortable kid that we know him as, but it's clear that he went through such a huge transformation throughout the series, and, but I can't find any of my books from that series. I think they're at my other house. I don't know, though. I don't remember putting it there, so, and besides, it is a manga, so I have another answer for that, and that would be Cam from I Tell You I Love You, but Then I Have to Kill You. She is the daughter of the headmistress at the school for young spy girls. They're taking children from all over the country and raise them up to be some of the best spies in the world. Cam has this huge legacy to follow, and the thing is, she's really just, she wants to know what it is to be like in a civilian life. And so she ends up meeting this guy while on an undercover mission for her school, and he's a complete civilian, but he sees her as what she really wants to be, because she's a street artist. Her entire job is to be unnoticed, and he sees her. And so we go from this, like, I don't know what my life is going to be like, to the end of the book. I can't spoil it for you because it's so good. But at the end of the book, she really makes a decision, and it's such a different decision than she would have made at the beginning of the book. Question number 3, Snow White, a book with an eccentric cast of characters. For me, that would be the Magnus Chase series, specifically book 2, and book 3 kind of, but I think book 2 is really where it's at. I mean, I'm a little biased because book 2 is my favorite, but we get introduced to so many characters I love, and I know majority of them were in the first book, but you really see them in this one. And there's also Alex, who shows up in this book. Alex is the love interest, kind of, to Magnus. Alex is gender fluid and also a child of Loki, so they're also a shapeshifter, so it is amazing. And then we have Sam, the Valkyrie, Magnus's Valkyrie, and she is a Muslim Valkyrie who's going through private school, has an engaged marriage with Amir, and Amir in this book is the best. Like, if you need a supportive boyfriend, Amir is who you want, okay? So, all these characters, and you also mix in the Norse deities, and it's just so good. It's just that good. Question number 4. Sleeping Beauty, a book that put you to sleep. Now, I have opinions on this, and it's The Apothecary's Curse. This book really came just... The entire situation of my life during the moment I was reading this book was just not the best for this book, and this book is not good, okay? I don't think it is a well-written, well-understood book. And the thing that really pushes me over the edge was I was so busy in my life, I didn't have time to be reading a book that is not even that long. And this book took me like 3 weeks to read. I was in the middle of a show, midterms were coming up. I mean, I was back in high school when I was reading this, so it wasn't extraordinarily bad, but still, like, I did not have time for this. I didn't want to read it. It was not good, so I just ignored it, and it put me to sleep because I was reading it between rehearsals, like whenever I wasn't on stage, I was trying to read this. I was zoning out. I was taking a nap, let's be real. Question number 5, The Lion King, a character who had a traumatic event happen in their past. Okay, so I just talked about this and then I realized everything I just said was a spoiler. So carry on. Yeah. I mean, if you've read this book, you probably know who I'm talking about. Like, who in this book has the most traumatic event that is talked about throughout this book, but we don't really know about it until they come out and say it. I mean, their entire past wasn't really that good, so... This book. A specific character from this book. Question number 6, Beauty and the Beast. A beast of a book, a big book, that you were originally intimidated by, but then found beauty in the story. For me, this is Mistborn. I don't have a copy with me because I read my friend's copy and then I bought the box set, which is currently at my dorm room. So, yeah. This book was huge. And I was reading it over, like, Thanksgiving break. And I had, like, 3 days to read the entire book. And it's, like, close to 1,000 pages, if not 1,000 pages. And I was like, Lauren, ignore me for, like, a solid few days. I'm gonna finish this book. And it was beautiful. And I probably need to reread it because I read it that quickly. I'm worried I missed some details that might be important in later books. Question number 7, Aladdin. A character who gets a wish granted for them, for better or for worse. For me, this is not your sidekick. I cannot talk about what exactly happened. I mean, a lot of characters kind of got their wish granted for them, but it all happens near the end, and it's just, okay, I can't talk about it. I cannot talk about it. This is a good book. Probably not, like, the best in the world, but it's, like, a good series. I enjoy the characters, and, like, what happened at the end where all their characters kind of like, oh, wow, what we want is actually possible. Like, yeah, that was actually interesting, so not your sidekick. Question number 8, Mulan. A character who pretends to be someone or something they're not. For this question, I chose Emma Lake from Dear Mrs. Bird. Emma kind of accidentally gets a job for a woman's magazine when she's trying to become a war correspondent, because this takes place during World War II in Britain, and she takes the wrong job, essentially. And during that time, she realizes that the magazine she's working for, it, like, specializes in people sending in questions or concerns to Mrs. Bird, her, Mrs. Lake's, boss. And Mrs. Bird is ignoring them, saying they're undecent, saying that we can't publish these questions because they're about war or relationships or anything that she deems unsavory. And Emma Lake is like, hey, that's not right. These people need our help. And so Emma starts responding to these letters under Mrs. Bird's name. And you can tell where the story kind of would go from there. And I love this book so much. Not enough people have read this. It is amazing. Question number 9, Toy Story. Characters from a book you wish would come to life. I mean, this probably isn't the best idea, but, the Six of Crows cast, because, I mean, I have a thing for thieves. It seems like every story I really enjoy somehow involves a crook in some way or another, and you guys know how much, like, I love this enough to get this beautiful, I mean, I didn't technically get this, I got it as a gift, but I love this enough that I convinced someone to buy this for me, and it's just, it's beautiful. I need to reread this soon, because I want to read Crooked Kingdom soon. I feel like I kind of need to reread this to know what's up. But yeah, I love these characters so much. I mean, really any of them from this cast would be good and, like, to be brought into our world. They don't need to have their powers. I don't really care too much about that factor. Wow. I always forget these characters are as young as they are, because, like, in my mind, like, obviously, like, oh, they're, like, late teens, early 20s, but no, they're, like, 16 in this book, which is really weird, just because of how they're written and all, but, yeah. And finally, question number 10. Your favorite villain / morally ambiguous character. For me, this is Angelina from the Stainless Steel Rat series. Angelina starts off as a villain, kind of, and then she kind of becomes, like... See, the thing is, the Stainless Steel Rat follows criminals working for the government, so none of them are technically good guys, but, like, this Slippery Jim, the Stainless Steel Rat, is sent to hunt down Angelina, and then stuff happens. Angelina ends up, like, kind of joining them in, like, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th book, and it's like, she's kind of on their side now, but it's so very clear that she's not a good person, so I love her so much. And this is a really old sci-fi series, and it's so hard to find such, like a well-written female character. So, I mean, I'll take what I can get, let's be real. So that has been the Disney book tag. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you liked this video or have more Disney-themed book tags I can do in the future, because I know you guys really like them, leave that down in the comment section down below. While you're there, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And as always, good night, good evening, and good morning, everybody.